Awesome. Now we have our estimated regression. What do we do with it? Well, we've got these estimated coefficients, and we're going to do something very similar to multinomial logit. When we're estimating our coefficients, the only thing that's going to change is when we're moving toward predicted probabilities. So we can interpret this in almost exactly the same way, where a 1 unit increase in x, so let's say a 1 unit increase in density leads to a change in the log odds of moving from whatever category you're in up to the next preceding category by whatever that beta is. We can do the same thing as we did with the multinomial logit, where we take the exponent of that beta and then we can reinterpret that as a 1 unit increase in x as a change in the odds of going from whatever category you're starting in to the next category. Now, in order to do this, in order to actually have a full predicted probability of being in the next category versus being in this category, we have to have our estimated regression line. So we can construct our estimated regression line just like this, again noticing that we're missing one key factor here, and that is the cutoffs. So those cutoffs are going to be really important for us when we're estimating these individual probabilities. When we actually go and look at the exponentiated odds ratios here and construct confidence intervals around them, we can, one, have a sanity check. Let's just take a look at the things that we think should definitely be correlated with concern, right? And someone who's very concerned is probably going to take measures accordingly. So for those who take protective measures like staying at home and wearing a mask outside, the odds of being more concerned with COVID are much higher. So for people versus not wearing a mask at all, that's the reference point, remember, did not leave home, they have a much higher odds, a 2.6 times higher odds than those who don't wear a mask at all, and those who wear a mask outside have an even higher probability of being concerned, probably because they went outside. We can also look at other variables of interest like our partisanship variable. So for a Democrat respondent, again, in any given region, holding that constant, the odds of being more concerned about COVID are about like 2.6 times higher than an independent. What I think is also really interesting here is that if we just compare the interaction, so those in some of the hardest hit areas like metro areas in the Midwest like Chicago or Milwaukee, metro areas in the Northeast like Boston or New York, metro areas in the West like San Francisco or Seattle, all of those areas are more likely to be concerned with in reference to the baseline category, right? Which is not a metro area and the South.